It was the 90s. Back when flights didn't involve digital boarding passes, endless TSA checks, or even passports between the US and Canada. A simpler time, at least, until he showed up. My flight to Vancouver had already been delayed. Tensions were high. People were tired. I was exhausted, just wanting to get on, sit down, and forget the stress. And that's when he arrived. I noticed him before he even stepped on the plane. A cart pulled up outside the gate. There he was, slumped over, reeking of alcohol from feet away, eyes bloodshot, and yelling something incoherent at the gate agent. He could barely sit upright. They're not gonna let him on, right? That's what I told myself. But shockingly, unbelievably, the gate agent scanned his ticket and let him on. No questions, no concerns. Just waved him through like a regular passenger. He stumbled down the aisle like it was a bar crawl. And of course, because fate is cruel, he sat right in front of me. I barely had time to fasten my seatbelt before his fists started slamming into the back of the seat ahead of him. Again. And again. And again. Thud. 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 The woman in front of him turned around, politely at first, and asked if he could stop. He didn't just ignore her. He mocked her. Started yelling. And then punched her seat so hard that her entire body jolted forward. That's when she broke. She started crying. Right there. In silence. Shoulders trembling. And he just laughed. That moment, that quiet sob, the way she tried to muffle it like she was embarrassed, I will never forget it. I leaned over his seat, as calm as I could manage, and said, "Hey man, you need to calm down. You're hurting people." He turned his head halfway and slurred, "Fool you," and then turned back around like I was nothing. My blood was boiling, not just at him, but at everyone who was letting this happen. I got up and went to find a flight attendant, told them everything. The yelling, the hitting, the crying woman. And you know what I got? A shrug. Literal shrug. He's just had a bit too much. He'll probably pass out soon. Probably. Probably. I went back to my seat, my fists clenched, my jaw tight. I felt utterly powerless, like I was trapped in a nightmare with no exit, and no one cared. Eventually, like the attendant said, he did nod off, collapsed into his seat, mouth wide open, drooling a little, dead to the world. I finally exhaled. But my peace didn't last. About an hour into the flight, he jerked awake and staggered toward the bathroom. He was muttering, still swearing, bouncing off armrests like a pinball. Somewhere between, "Where's my F*** can drink," and "They can't tell me what to do." When he came back, instead of returning to his own seat, he plopped into the empty aisle seat right next to me. The smell, the heat coming off him, his slurred nonsense. It was all too much. And then, fate intervened. He stood up again, something about getting another drink or harassing the flight attendant, and wandered off. And that's when I saw it. His wallet. Just sitting there on the seat beside me. Fat. Worn. Stuffed full of bills, cards, and what looked like a license tucked in the back. My heart stopped. Because suddenly, the rules of the game changed. I picked up his wallet, and my mind started spinning. All those people he harassed. The woman he made cry. The seat punches. The profanity. The shrug from the staff. And now, he was heading to a foreign country. And soon, he'd be standing in Canadian Customs and Immigration, trying to explain who he was, with no ID, and no clue where it went. My fingers moved without hesitation. I stood up. Calm. Casual. I walked past him as he harassed a second flight attendant near the galley. No one was paying attention. Not to me. At the edge of the lavatory area was a small service trash bin. Barely anyone looked at it twice. I opened it, slid the wallet between a stack of paper towels and a banana peel, and walked away. Back to my seat. Back to silence. He returned 5 minutes later, still mumbling, and sat down in the seat again. Didn't even notice the wallet was gone. I almost felt bad. Almost. When we landed in Vancouver, he tried to get off the plane first. Pushed his way forward. I stayed behind. Watched him from a distance. And then, it happened. From afar, I saw him patting his pockets. Front, back, jacket, everywhere. Then rifling through his carry-on. Then yelling at the customs officer. No. I had it on the plane, I swear. The agent looked unimpressed. Sir, without identification, we can't let you enter Canada. And just like that, Mr. Big Talk, Mr. Drunk and Loud, Mr. Few, to everyone, was stuck. He couldn't yell his way out. He couldn't punch a seat and scare his way in. He was nothing without that little leather rectangle. I walked past him slowly, quietly. He didn't even recognize me. And I've never smiled harder behind a passport. Justice doesn't always come from authority. Sometimes it comes from the quietest people on the plane, doing what everyone else wishes they could do. Not out of spite, but out of fairness. Sometimes karma just needs a little nudge. If that moment of sweet, silent justice gave you life, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen unfold? And don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, I've got plenty more stories where that came from.